Apparently, there's a new TikTok carnivore that's supposedly taking over the internet. It was covered by August the Duck, whose real name is August, apparently. I haven't really looked too much into him. Apparently, he's also about a year older than me. If that. Over the same age, and he basically does a bunch of commentary reactions. But anyway, I got sent this video at one point, and really, it's just a denigration, a disparaging of the carnivore diet. And it's a very lazy, cheap tactic where you take someone that is an influencer in the space that may not know really what they're talking about, but they're still in the space. So everyone has bad apples, everyone whatever. And you take them, which they may very well actually be satirical as well, which is another problem, but let's just assume they're not. And you take them and you make them the face of the entire movement in order to basically cast aspersions at the entire movement and pretend like it has no scientific backing behind it. It's really stupid, it's cowardly, and frankly, I'm tired of it. And I'm sure that many of you are tired of it as well. So what we're going to be doing today is covering this video in the same choleric fashion that I usually do this in. We're not going to be covering the whole video because the entire video is 19 minutes long. I don't know who this influencer is. I don't really care for influencer culture. I guess I am in it. I guess it depends on what you mean by influencer. It's sort of a vague term. It doesn't matter to me though. We're going to be getting into this video and wasting no further time because, of course, who wants to waste time? Everyone wants to see the reactions. So we'll be providing better commentary than August will. I've listened to about 30 seconds of this and it was in the middle of the video. Probably a part of the video that I won't get to. But yeah, stupidity incoming. Let's just put it that way. Dumb, Gen Z, lethargic, empty vacuousness incoming. Just prepare yourselves, folks. Here we go.
The thing with red meat is they always want to put like a limit on it. But I feel like that's what they want us to do. They want us to limit it. Like they don't.
Well, yes, I think what her implication is that they have self-interests. They have ulterior motives in having us limit red meat. That's entering towards, just objectively speaking, whether you agree with it or not, it's entering towards conspiracy theory realm. Fine. It doesn't make it necessarily false. What I really think is that they have vested interest in not necessarily getting us to stop eating red meat, but eating more of the plant-based alternatives because of profit motive. I don't think they actually care how much red meat you consume. I think they're just trying to get you to buy more of their product. And one of the ways to do that is to convince people that they should be cutting red meat and replacing it. So anyway, whatever.
Want us to have, I don't know, like they tell us to do that and they tell us to avoid eggs, and I feel like it's all on purpose.
You don't find that suspicious?
When TikTokers are told not to do something that will kill them. Okay, so here's the thing. Yes, this meme is applicable, but not here. It's not applicable here. Yes, TikTok culture, people on TikTok should not be listened to. I don't care what faction they're in. Stay off TikTok. Please, for the love of it all, stay off TikTok. Get it off your phone. Remove it. Delete it. It is toxic, brain rot material. And yes, this meme here makes sense, but not in this context. Eating red meat is not going to kill you. And I'm pissed off that this is still a narrative.
You don't find that suspicious?
Well guys, it's been a while. It feels like it's been a minute since we've talked about the world of TikTok carnivores, and for a little bit there, it had kind of started to seem like they had disappeared. However, unfortunately for us and their hearts, it doesn't seem like that's
Oh my god. Wow. So more oh, saturated fat and cholesterol are going to cause heart disease. They cause heart disease, guys. These are people that want to make fun of TikTokers for being stupid, and yet they are the stupidest morons I've ever heard speak. And the thing about stupidity is they are not self-aware. If you are stupid, you are not self-aware. You will never take criticism to heart. You won't do it. So if August here decides to listen to this, he will not do anything except point fingers at everybody else except himself. No ability to criticize himself. No ability to take criticism from other people. No understanding of what science is, what it can and cannot say, how to interpret it, how to interpret scientific papers, physiology, cardiovascular pathophysiology. It's amazing. You can say anything on the internet today and get paid for it. Over 2 million subscribers, this guy, this boy.
Now, if you don't know what a TikTok carnivore is...
Okay, so here we go with Butter Dog, who is satirical, you dumbass.
You're not Mexican if you've never made breakfast burritos de cabeza. That is a traditional Mexican breakfast recipe that my abuela would make every single day for me before school as a young kiddo, and today I'm going to show you how to make it. You will never make another crockpot dinner after you try this gelatinous sink testy cake. That is a gel. Would you rather eat hairy elephant balls, my favorite Australian recipe, You're not British if you've never had beans on elephant foreskin, even though
This is satire. In fact, I follow him because he's funny. You think he's carnivore? He makes fun of them. In a funny way, frankly. You've been had. You've been f***ing had, you dumbass.
It's a person on TikTok who eats nothing but meat. Now at first,
That is not a TikTok carnivore, you f***ing retard.
that sounds really cool. You might be thinking, how do I meet these people? Vegetables are for dorks. And normally,
They're not for dorks. They're not for any human, in fact.
I would agree with you. However, these TikTok carnivores will tell you that eating nothing but red meat for every meal of every day is the healthiest and really the only way to live if you want to live a long.
Okay, so absolute straw man, absolute inappropriate representation of the argument at hand. What we say is that we have a species-appropriate, species-specific diet, like every single species on the face of this planet, with very minimal variation, that being inferred from chemical paleoanthropology, observational paleoanthropology, comparative anatomy, and biochemistry, our biochemistry. The flesh and associated fat of large ruminant animals primarily, with added fat in the forms of butter, tallow, lard, suet, and ghee to taste, added salt to taste, and water, and nothing else. No carbohydrates to speak of, no plant material to speak of, and that is an indicated diet. That is our indicated diet as a species. We do not say it's the only way to live. We also don't say that you need to have red meat as the only thing you eat for the rest of your life, because guess what? There are other carnivore foods as well. We say that that should be the primary constituent of your diet. We also say that it is completely possible, proven by literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people at this point, to live on only red meat and not only live, but thrive on it. This person here would probably say that we're just the antithesis to veganism. We're the yin to the vegan yang, which is absolutely wrong. Veganism is an ethical standpoint. Therefore, no animal life, purportedly, is involved in being killed for their diet or exploited in any way, which is a bunch of bullshit, actually. The carnivore diet, or a carnivore diet rather, is not that at all. It was not a response to veganism.
And as a person with a brain, I just can't co-sign.
No, you do not have a brain in terms of what you imply brain to mean, which is functional, logical capacity. No, you don't. You're just perfunctorily dismissing this because you don't understand it. And that's what Gen Z does. That's what children do, by the way. If they don't understand something, they say that it's stupid. I did that at 10 years old. I don't know about you guys. What's that? Oh, it's this, Eddie. Oh, that's stupid. Huh. Idiot.
Now, there was a period on this channel where I was really talking a lot about these TikTok carnivores.
Who gives a
Remember when the Liver King blew up?
So the Liver King, also not a carnivore, is he? In terms of what he eats as his diet. In reality, he is a carnivore because he's a human being. Hyper carnivores is what we are, okay? But his diet isn't even carnivore. He's a member of Saladino University. He's also a fraud, and he's not representative of the entirety of the carnivore space. He was a sensational figure, an influencer in the space, that tried to garner attention, and he successfully did it, and is still doing it today, okay? We don't eat organs in this space. Did you know that? Some of us do, but I don't. It's not required. In fact, it may be a problem if you do that. Liver King does, though.
Inspired a lot of people to go on to TikTok and start documenting how they eat nothing but steak and eggs 24/7.
No, because that's not what Liver King did. He may have inspired people to do that, but that's not what he did. Potatoes, rice, fruit, honey. He ate all of it.
King's intensity and persona being what stood out about him, of course, the copycats followed suit. So for a while...
Right, so now what you're doing is casting aspersions at the entire carnivore space and pretending that the entirety of the space was simply being obsequious to Liver King and being inspired by Liver King to do this. This is the lack of knowledge and awareness you have to exhibit in order to make a video confidently like this.
TikTok carnivore scene was like really extreme and intense, very exclusionary, you could say. They'd say...
Exclusionary in terms of what? In terms of plant foods, which aren't foods at the first place? They're contraindicated for human consumption? Contraindicated. Buy now. Link to the second edition hardcover, paperback, and audiobook in the description below. We're working on the ebook. Trust me, I haven't forgotten about that. We have an issue with Amazon. Just got to be patient, unfortunately. But I have not forgotten.
If every day you're not eating a set of bull testicles, a camel's penis.
Right, so no. You've been had, you f***ing idiot. You have been f***ing had. Liver King and Butter Dog. First of all, Liver King actually does this, but Butter Dog doesn't even do that. It's a joke. It's a f***ing joke. It's funny. And you've been had thinking that it was actually f***ing real.
Like the bone marrow of an extinct creature. You're gonna die at 27.
What? Yeah, so this is just hyperbole, and it's just exaggerative and the epitome of a straw man.
From like bad gut health or something. But as with most things on the internet, eventually people just got tired of this shit. You can only...
Yes, because it's sensational, and it's not representative of the normal carnivore movement.
A man eat the chocolate-covered penis of an animal so many times before the shock value just sort of wears off.
Exactly. There you go. Shock value. That was all it was about.
Oh, what happens? A cultural reset. The TikTok carnivore community.
That's the thing. TikTok carnivore community. That may very well be different, and is very different from the normal carnivore community.
Needed something new. They needed something different. So when you have a niche ran by big, angry, buff men, how do you flip that? You take a small, not angry, and not buff, I guess, woman. Probably a more elegant way to phrase that, but we're moving on. That's how you get D-Doo-Doo-05. A young woman who I believe is the world's first TikTok carnivore industry plant. Now, you might hear that.
God. Maybe. Hell, maybe. The more the carnivore movement grows, the more the industries are going to capitalize on that, and they're going to do the same damn things that all these big plant-based industries have done as well. I'm saying maybe in a scoffing way, because I don't think the carnivore movement is that big yet, but who knows? She may be an industry plant. I've never seen her before. No idea. Let us remind ourselves that this is one person. I don't know what's going to come out of her mouth.
And you might say, August, it sounds like you've lost your mind. My question would be, who told you that? Do you think you're trustworthy enough? Do you think you're qualified enough to make a mental evaluation of me? We're going to find out. D-Doo-Doo-05, who I will be affectionately referring to as Miss Doo-Doo throughout this video because, I don't know.
It's because you're a child. It's because you're a child, August. That really is the reason.
D in the doo-doo just doesn't really roll off the tongue right. Like seriously, just say D-Doo-Doo. It doesn't really feel good to say.
Perhaps the username is referring to a jingle, but if you had a brain like you said you had in the beginning, you'd probably be able to have picked up on that already.
Oh, I'm not gonna. Miss Doo-Doo is a TikToker who's been uploading on the...
This is what people enjoy today. Seriously, 2+ million subscribers.
Form for a few months, it seems, and from what I can tell, has no other like social media influence. Not a YouTuber, not an Instagrammer, just TikTok. And completely out of the blue, she grabbed the TikTok carnivore scene by the throat, spit in its face, and said, "We're gonna do things the way I want to do it from now on, and you're not gonna ask any questions." Because every single video this individual is uploading is getting millions of views, and it's nothing but her sitting in her backyard eating a steak. And as much as I would love to extend a friendly fist bump, and you know what, I might do it anyways, because I would lie on the internet, okay? I would go onto TikTok and say, hey, you can eat red meat every day of your life and you're gonna live to be 175 years old.
Okay, so no one says that. No one says that you can live to 175 years old. But are you implying that someone saying that you can eat red meat every single day is lying? Because, yeah, you can.
I got to get paid for sitting in my backyard eating a steak. As much as I would like to applaud that, which I kind of am, I've got to stick to my guns here, and we've got to dive into these videos because some of the stuff that's said, gotta be honest, you could use as your slogan for your campaign to get elected mayor of Goofyville, okay? You'll see. Let's not
let's go ahead and see.
Any more time.
Listen, I want to be objective on here. If she makes a fool of herself, we're gonna call her out.
Let's begin.
Please subscribe. Pathetic.
And about a year ago, I would say, I came across this lady on YouTube. Her name is The Black Carnivore. She was like the first person I had heard about it. And what
I think that was Edie. That was years ago. She's not making content anymore.
really like caught my attention was the fact that she said she used to have like really bad asthma and allergies. And she said after, I don't know how many years she's been doing it now. I haven't seen many of her videos, but after a couple years, her asthma just went away.
So this is the first video.
Right. So there you go. Great. She shared her experience, and it was associated with the adoption of a species-appropriate, species-specific diet. There are some causal mechanisms suggested there, particularly with regard to inflammation. There you go.
I saw of Miss Doodoo. This is what exposed me to this new wave of the TikTok carnivores. And look, I don't know who's orchestrating this industry planting, but I've got to applaud.
Okay, so you have no evidence for that, and you're just basically putting forward a conspiracy theory that can't be falsified with the current tools that we have today. This is your opinion, and it's a desperate cope, frankly.
It is for sticking to the roots of the movement, because my God, it looks like it's as stupid as ever. Let me get this straight.
That's your opinion.
Watched a YouTube video in about a year ago, whatever that means, might be some cryptic message to the other carnivores, of some random person saying, yeah, I eat only meat now and my asthma disappeared, and you were like, you know what? I'm about to change my entire lifestyle because of this.
So what? August, you are an offensive moron. You know that? And you are the reason why my generation gets so much flack and hate. Rightfully so, by the way. You really are the reason. You are a inane child laughing like a schoolboy and casting aspersions at ideas that you think are stupid because you don't understand them, and you don't have an open mind, and you're an arrogant twat. If you knew anything about health and physiology, you'd understand why this would make sense. Also, you act as if this was one person that has been saying this. Yes, she said she was inspired by one person in particular, but there are thousands at this point of people online sharing their experience with this, if not tens of thousands. There are just a select few top influencers in the space, and there are millions of people that are adopting said diet. Millions.
Shock you, but people are allowed to lie on the internet. I'm not a duck. I'm a real...
Yes, they are allowed to lie. Okay, so basically what you're saying is you don't believe it, so they must be lying. Oh, you pathetic
boy. If I told you that speaking into a microphone and making videos on YouTube turned you into a bird, would you avoid microphones? If not, why do you avoid vegetables just because somebody said some on the internet? Talk to a doctor.
Oh my God. Once again, he doesn't know what a doctor even is and what they specialize in. This is what I'm talking about. By doctor, you mean general care practitioner and physician. Ones that are only in the business of being taught to identify symptomology and therefore subsequently identify etiologies and diagnose you with a condition, potentially refer you to a hospital or another clinic that specializes in something else that pertains to said diagnosis, and prescribe you medications for profit. You idiot. They do not know how to interpret science. They do not understand, at least they're not trained how to interpret science, and they do not understand human nutrition. They're not even taught human nutrition, by the way, which may very well be a good thing. You ignorant sheep. Wow.
Doesn't need her inhaler or or needs to take any medication anymore. And I think about that.
Not a shock. This happens every day. There are more people talking about this. More and more.
Day. That just shows how much like food can heal you.
Correct. And also not only how food can heal you, because that implies addition, but how subtracting non-foods, or not foods, in other words, non-foods, can help you.
So I thought, I'm like, if there's a chance like I can live my life without asthma and allergies, like I want it.
Okay, there you go. So she clearly just implied that she has asthma and she has allergies, okay? Now this guy says that this is completely fake. Of course. Oh, that just sounds so unbelievable, so it must not be true. It must not be true, guys. She's lying. She's an industry plant. Ha ha ha. I'm retarded. Ha ha ha. So what is your point making fun of her? You have just taken her sharing her innocent experience, not even telling people how to live. She's sharing her experience, and you're now denigrating it because you think that it didn't happen. You piece of shit. You really are a piece of shit.
I love my dog, but whenever she licks me or touches me, I have hives all over my body. And like, I really want to just not be allergic.
I haven't heard that before, but okay.
For one day. Like, I would love that. I'd love to just, I don't know, cuddle with her and not be in pain.
Okay.
There you go. So you have no evidence to suggest that she's lying right now. So you take at face value what she's saying and you go, if that's true, that sounds unbelievable, but if that's true, benefit of the doubt, innocent until proven guilty, that makes sense. Whatever. Fine. It's that easy. I'm not saying to be gullible and believe everything you see on the internet, but there is a balance to be had.
I just want to make sure that I'm hearing this correctly. You wish to not be allergic to dogs so deeply that you were willing to change your entire lifestyle on a whim because one person on YouTube said that it worked for them. Not only that...
Okay, we've already covered this. First of all, you dolt. If she is getting allergic reactions from her dog licking her, you can imagine how many other allergic reactions she's having to other things. Not to mention that she just implied that she also has asthma. You piece of shit. Okay? That's what she implied. She implied that she has other issues without explicitly stating it. Now, perhaps I'm hearing her wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what seemed to be her implications. And also, if you're desperate enough, if you see one person fix their issues with something, so this guy's clearly privileged enough to have never been sick before and disordered in any way. Well, disordered health-wise and physically. Because if he actually were, then he wouldn't be so arrogant, and he'd also be more mature. He'd grow the up. He'd be an adult, okay, instead of a child. He's older than me, but he's younger than me mentally. It's very clear. He would understand, therefore, that this is an inappropriate approach to this video here, okay? And he'd also understand that one person saying that they fixed their lives with a certain protocol would be enough for you to change it if you're desperate enough, okay? Okay.
Converted to a lifestyle, or a diet, I guess, that has been proven time and time again to be very not good for you.
No, it hasn't. Not good for you. Drooling out the side of the mouth. You're just saying words. You're saying words. You're saying what your parents taught you. Oh, don't eat that red meat. It'll clog your arteries. That's what'll happen. No, it hasn't been proven time and time again. You have no idea how to interpret science. No clue. You are out of your depths, okay? You really, really are. This is offensive as You are a coward. You are a coward.
Long run. Instead of...
No, not in the long run, because there's no long-term studies that have ever been conducted on any diet and on any human beings, because it's not possible. Unethical, wouldn't get past an ethics committee, implausible for obvious reasons, and also too much money. You dumbass.
Starting allergy shots, you know, something that does...
Oh yeah, just start taking drugs, guys. Just start taking drugs, you retard. Duh. Just start taking drugs. You are an absolute idiot. You are a gullible sheep. You are an example of most of my generation. You are an example of how my generation, the majority of it, is going to just run themselves into the dirt with a smile on their face, with a contemptuous, with a oh, what's a good word for this? With a mocking smile, an arrogant smile. A smile that represents a complete lack of self-awareness. Right into the grave, 6 feet under. You absolute dangerous idiot. This has been the most infuriating video that I have ever watched on this channel. Whoever sent this to me, thank you, I guess. In a backwards way. Holy shit. You're just saying words. That's all you're doing. I can say words too. Bloody blue to blah blah. Meat bad.
Because look, as a person who will start to slowly die if I'm around a cat, I get it. Allergies suck.
Okay, so you may be able to mitigate that if you actually changed your diet. Because if you have systemic inflammation, which involves the immune system being activated at an upregulated state, then what you will have is a decreased tolerance for other things that induce inflammation, such as allergies involving the histamine pathways. August? These are words that are coming out of my mouth that you have no idea of the meaning of. None.
Eating steak 4 meals a day, however, probably...
Well, also, you're just throwing things in that were not said. Not 4 times a day. Okay? Once a day. Because that's all you need to eat when you're eating this way.
Make your body suck even more.
No, it won't. It will not make you... Dude, you're a idiot. You're just saying words. This is propaganda. If anything, you'd be the one that I'd suspect to be an industry plant with 2+ million subscribers telling people, don't eat meat, guys. Don't eat meat. Have a palm-sized amount 3 times a day. I would not be surprised if he says some shit like that. He hasn't yet. He hasn't yet. I'm not going to pull an August here and just start making shit up that wasn't said.
The red meat is like they always want to put like a limit on it. Everyone wants...
Yeah, and the limits are based on a complete misunderstanding of science. Really, actually, this comes from fraud, and that's not a conspiracy theory. It was confirmed in 2015 in the Journal of the American Medical Association that the sugar industry paid 3 Harvard professors off to basically fabricate and obfuscate data to make it appear as if saturated fat and cholesterol were causing heart disease, when it very well seemed to be the case that it was sugar doing it. And one of those professors, Dr. Mark Hegstad, became the head of the USDA after that in 1977 and helped to author the 1977 USDA guidelines for the food pyramid and everything to cut back on saturated fat and cholesterol because they supposedly caused heart disease. This is a fact. Ancel Keys was the most prominent figure during that time, and his entire study was completely cherry-picked. He studied multiple countries, 23 or 22 countries, and studied the association between reported meat consumption and animal product consumption, saturated fat, cholesterol consumption, and the corresponding incidence rates of heart disease in certain populations. And it showed that there was actually no correlation whatsoever when all countries were plotted on the graph, but he chose only 7 to report so that it actually did appear as if there was a positive association, because there was between those 7 countries. He published those and fudged numbers in his other studies, and here we are today. Dwight Eisenhower's heart attack really solidified the fear of animal products as well, and made people aware that this can happen to everyone and anyone. Oh my God. And here we are today. Here we are today.
Put a limit on it. And I get messages all the time saying, yeah, you can eat it, it's beneficial, but maybe not more than 3 times a week, or just make sure you limit it. But
yeah, exactly. And it's just not supported at all. Oh man, I would love to see August see this video and then make a response where he tries to get scientific. Oh, that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
That's what they want us to do. They want us to limit it. Like, they don't want us to...
Yeah, okay, so this is what we said in the beginning. We already covered this. This is a conspiratorial thing, fine. However, there is evidence that we can base these conclusions on that aren't exactly they don't want us to eat red meat, but rather they want us to basically give them money by purchasing their plant-based stuff. I already covered this in the beginning.
I don't know.
Vested interests is what you're looking for. Okay, ma'am, whatever your actual name is, I have no hard feelings towards you, but I really think that in order to make the space look better, if that's your goal, because I mean, it has to be, or else why else would you be posting content? The only other reason would be, hey, this worked for me, and maybe it'll work for you, but I think you're making content on the regular. If that's your goal, then maybe put together some scripts first, do something like that, because you will be exploited by people like this guy. Like absolute assholes, if not. The internet is a dangerous place, and you have to be formidable.
I feel like I'm not going to word this right. Like, they tell us to do that, and they tell us to avoid eggs, and...
Yeah, same thing there.
I feel like it's all on purpose.
Yeah, that's a pretty good...
Yeah, it is on purpose, but what she's really trying to imply is that they have vested interests that have nothing to do with beneficence towards other people, and altruism at all. It's money and rapaciousness, which I agree.
To live. I also like to excuse my stupid behavior by saying, you know what?
Well, it's not stupid behavior, you arrogant wad.
I think someone out there just doesn't want me to do it. Look, dude, don't make this hard. I'm stealing your car. I know you might not want me to, but let's be real.
Oh, this is really obnoxious, guys. This really is. Wow. This is that would happen in middle school. This is the type of rhetoric. Really, I see a resemblance between me in middle school and this guy's behavior right now. It's absolutely pathetic. It's sad. It's disappointing. It's genuinely, in a way, it's dismal that this is acceptable behavior and this is popular behavior. Oh my God. The amount of self-domestication that we've imposed upon ourselves to believe that acting like a child is somehow mature and appropriate for 20-plus-year-olds to be doing. It is absolutely terrifying, because this type of behavior is not only obnoxious, it becomes dangerous. You reach a level of ignorance that is so dangerous that people will just vote anything in. They'll vote based on sensationalism. They won't vote based on philosophy. And I'm not just talking about politics here, even though I'm using the word vote. I'm talking about they'll select things. They'll select 4 things based on a lack of sophistication. It really is sad. It's not funny. It needs to stop today. 2+ million subscribers. Ken Berry I think, is around over 2 million subscribers. And he should have a lot more than that if this person can get over 2 million subscribers. Absolutely atrocious behavior on behalf of August here. Wow.
That's exactly why I need to. Like, this is the mindset of a child. If you're
Wow. What a projection. What a projection here. Absolutely pathetic.
motivation for doing something is that somebody doesn't want you to do it.
That's not what she said. She said that she feels that people are telling you not to do it implicitly because there are vested interests. She didn't say she adopted the diet because people were telling her not to and that it wasn't a good idea. Okay? She said the reason why she adopted it. You wad. Maybe you just have a TikTok style attention span. You're clearly on it all the time, trying to find victims to exploit on your channel in an unfair way. There's an element of sadism to that. There really is.
Not smart, you haven't broken out of the matrix. You're just a 6-year-old. Also, who?
No, you're just a 6-year-old and you're still trapped within said matrix, by the way. I really don't like how the red pill movement has completely ruined what the matrix and breaking out of the matrix really is and how it's a real thing. It's been satirized because of the way that they've portrayed it. Okay? The red pill movement, there's better alternatives, just so you know. The red pill movement is not like where the truth lies, just so you know. That's not true. But they were the first ones to challenge the narrative because the narrative is something that needs to be challenged. But it doesn't mean that their phrases are, at the very least, all to be mocked. There is such a thing as breaking out of the matrix. There is such a thing as the matrix, okay? It's a construct, but the idea is well substantiated.
And like, why don't we question it? I think we should question.
Yes, you should question literally everything. In fact, this is what I'm talking about. You have to have the abilities. You have to actually feel the desire. You have to have the desire to question whether what you are being told is true. First of all, because that's called being responsible. You don't just take everything at face value. You question things. You analyze things. You observe things. In order to be able to do that, though, once you recognize that that's your responsibility, you have to learn how to analyze things if you weren't taught that in the public education system, because they don't do a good job of that. Okay? And that's whenever you start to teach yourself things. You start taking courses. You start learning the actual significance of things that you took for granted in high school. In my biology class in high school, when I was 16, you think I retained anything? You think I even had a remote interest in that topic? No. And now I know how muscle cells work. And I studied for months learning how that works. You start learning things. You start learning how to analyze the world. And eventually you start learning how to do it yourself so that you can publish your own studies. You start learning to question things. Of course, people like August will mock you if you start questioning things because, well, the consensus is this, you tard. You're an idiot because you're questioning what you're being told. Dumb.
Why they're telling us not to eat those foods.
Yes, exactly. You should question why they're telling you not to eat those foods. Correct.
Pick up all these new foods. Like, they tell you to eat protein, so everyone starts eating the protein shakes and the protein bars and all these, like, protein ice creams. But you're not getting any protein because all protein is making sure it has all the essential amino acids. Like, you really think you're getting in that?
Well, not necessarily. It can have non-essential ones as well. But of course, if your food is bereft of all of the essential amino acids, it's probably not something that you should be consuming. I will say that.
Out of whatever a weird drink concoction that was made. That's my take on it. Don't get mad.
Okay, so...
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just... Basically what she's saying is that in order to be responsible with your protein intake, you should get it from real food sources. And it should also be in its complete amino acid profile, because if it's not, then maybe it's a sign that you shouldn't really be consuming it, and it also may not confer the same benefit as if you had all the other amino acids in adequate amounts that are sufficient to subserve your function in the food altogether when you eat it. There you go. It's also not to mention the fact that most of the protein in the products that she's talking about are plant proteins, which have poor bioavailability.
As a person who talks for a living about a lot of different there have been...
Yeah, in a stupid, obnoxious way. In an arrogant, haughty way, as if you know anything about anything, really. Oh my god, it's pathetic.
Times where I've overstepped when it comes to my knowledge on things. I've tried...
Yes! Like right now. Throughout this whole video, you pathetic
tackle things that I just really didn't have any business tackling. And
right. Yeah, like right now.
person who's made those mistakes. I can now recognize pretty easily when a person's doing that. I'm gesturing.
So pot calling the kettle black. Classic. F***ing classic. Because you're doing it right now.
To my screen. You can't see that though. First of all, protein shakes and protein bars are not new. I'm assuming
No, they're not new, but what she's referring to is that they keep coming out with new versions of these products. Whenever people talk about how you need to consume more protein. Well, there's another protein bar around the corner. That's what she means. If you had a brain and you were able to steel man arguments and you were able to actually give grace where it's due, you'd understand that was probably her implication there.
5 in your TikTok name refers to 2005, which is your birth year, I'm guessing. Protein shakes are your senior. They're probably older than your parents. Then you start
Correct, but that's not her point.
talking about amino acids, saying that you're not getting your amino acids by consuming these things.
She's saying complete amino acid profile. She didn't say that you're not getting amino acids from them. You absolute idiot.
Protein, which is what basically every major protein shake has in it, has all the essential amino acids. Also, if you're just eating a...
Right, okay, so let's go ahead and check that. No, not all protein shakes contain all 9 essential amino acids. You idiot. You absolute idiot. You are an absolute I genuinely have never reacted to someone as offensive and stupid as you are on this channel. What a coward, haughty, arrogant, flagrant Not to mention that you probably benefit from consuming all, are there 21 amino acids? Even the ones that aren't essential, okay? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember the exact number because it doesn't really matter to me.
Also, if you're just eating a well-balanced diet...
Oh, there it is! The balanced propaganda. There it is. Oh, you eat a balanced diet of all the things that you don't require and are probably inducing harm. Let's moderate and balance things that aren't required and cause harm in our bodies. Let's moderate adultery. Let's moderate cutting ourselves. What the is this? What the actual is this? You have an obligation to consume a species-appropriate, species-specific diet. I mean, let's think about this. Animals in the wild, do they balance everything they eat, or do they eat roughly 1 to 2 things? Oh, but we're somehow different because, oh, of course, since he's so stupid and is like 70 IQ, probably will sit here in response to this if he actually heard me and go, well, humans are different than animals, Daddy. Humans are different than animals. Actually, yes, but have you ever asked yourself in what way we are different? Is it physiologically? With some variation, of course, because we're a different species. But mainly, it's with our intellect. Well, some of our intellect. Some people clearly don't have that. It's with our ability to reason. Everything else that you think of, language, the ability to enjoy and create music, things like that. Civilization, they're all subsidiary to our ability to reason. In terms of our dietary patterns, they only differ in terms of what it's made up of, not in terms of their exclusivity. Herbivores. People want to think that herbivores eat all plants on the No, because if they did, they'd die. They eat 1 or 2. What a load of bullshit. Eat a well-balanced diet, guys. Get the out of here, you offensive asshole.
Obviously, meat is part of that. You do not need...
Well, obviously, meat is part of that. I know what I'm talking about. I comment on people that are in the TikTok space and I don't show my face and I'm obnoxious as What a loser.
Worry about your amino acids. So to make this video where you're like, oh, protein shakes are scary because I think so, and they're probably not good because I think so. And they...
Really? So what you're saying is that she doesn't have any evidence to support her claims, or at least she's not providing it, and therefore she's just giving her opinion, when you have just done the exact same thing in this video the entire time. You're lucky I'm still going.
You told me to not eat 15 steaks a week, so I'm gonna...
This is absolutely ridiculous. I'm done. I'm sorry. I really wish I could get through this. We have gotten halfway through this video. I am not watching the rest of this. This is absolutely ridiculous. This, by the way, this goes deeper than diet and health, guys. This is no joke. Gen Z. This is my generation. I wish I were kidding. This is how they think. This is the level of intellect that they exhibit. I'm not kidding. They have not had a pressure on them to actually start thinking outside the box. He said brazenly, confidently, shamelessly, basically, not to question authority. not to question what you're told. Maybe they're telling you things because, you know, it's true. Maybe they're telling you things to keep you safe. Ha 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 ha. And this is what I mean, guys. When I say that ignorance is, it pisses me off, there are instances of ignorance that are innocent, especially if someone is aware of that ignorance and they're trying to mitigate that ignorance, they're trying to replace it with knowledge. That's me, for example. The education system has failed us tremendously, and there's things that I should know that if I said them out loud and no one knew anything of me, they would think that I'm just as stupid as he is, if not less, or if not more. That's innocent. But if you are this complacent and smug, no, it's dangerous, because you will just allow predation over everyone, especially if you have influence over government policy, local or nationwide, if in the States at least. This is really up. And I'm really trying to get people, I'm really trying to put information into people's heads, and not just information, I'm trying to get you to question everything, including what I say. I really am just trying to give you the tools. I'm trying to teach people the fundamentals, how to actually interpret science, basic physiology. Like, I'm really trying to I'm trying to teach people how to ask questions. Like, this was discouraging, frankly, to see this boy, this absolute child, speak so arrogantly and ignorantly and smugly. Genuinely, what the actual This is pathetic. So anyway, join me next time. Frankly, yeah, I don't even want to plug anything. I don't want to do that. This was a punch to the gut. It really was. I don't think you guys understand how much this actually really affects me. 2 million people. 2 million subscribers. Anyway, join me next time when we react to more arrogant ignorance, and hopefully something that doesn't actually make me appreciate the people I react to on my videos, because at least there's some sophistication going on in their heads, even if it's bullshit. Again, everything's all relative. All the people I react to are so stupid. Yeah, compare them to him. So, till then.